You mentioned there were 5 constituencies. A lot of folks in the startup land think this is a question of technology. Well, I'll just build a better mousetrap and they'll find it. Can you walk through specific examples of how you approach and worked with and best practices each of those constituencies? So, a regulator, an insurance provider, a patient population, and understand how, as a startup, you can manage that process more effectively.
A bunch of years ago, we created, we repositioned ourselves as a health and healing company. So one of the things we launched was alternative medicine. We were the first in the mainstream with alternative medicine. Getting the medical community to buy into that was a laugh. It was basically, don't even try, right? So we basically went to them and said, patients are doing it anyway, and they're lying to you. Wouldn't you rather have the data than not? Because I used to have people who walked into my office who would complain of having a headache, right? Well, they were taking echinacea in liquid form. Well, echinacea in liquid form is basically Everclear with a root in it. And they were taking meds, and the med says don't take any alcohol, right? So, I would sit there and say, like, well, geez, isn't it better? Because if I ever walk into a doctor's office, even today, how many people walk into the doctor's office? How many of you walk in and the doctor says, are you taking anything? And you go, oh, no. You're not going to, patients lie. They're not going to sit there and say, they don't feel like hearing the lecture. I'm taking, shark cartilage. Oh my God. It's like, you don't feel like hearing the lecture. It's like, if I wanted to visit my mom, I'd do that, right? So the patient community got involved because we said we're going to be able to get more accurate information. And by the way, they're doing it anyway, and it's a $60 million business. And who's to say it's wrong? Because Eastern medicine's been going on for thousands of years, and wouldn't you rather be participating than not? Okay, because they're going to do it, right? The employer community said, do I have to pay for it? No. Basically, the employees, it's all direct to consumer. They're paying for it themselves, but we're going to help support it. We're going to enable it. We're going to make it cheaper for them to do it. Okay, I'm in, because whatever if they're doing it and it's better for them, if they want to do it, fine, right? The broker community, they loved it because it was a new thing to sell. A new way of walking in the door, and by the way, and all brokers want to do is renew, right? So brokers want to sell new. They don't want to renew. So what you do is you create automated systems for them to renew everything without having to worry about it, so that all they have to focus on is new, because they get paid more commission on that than they do the renewal, right? The broker builds a revenue. Do you guys know how brokers make money? It's not just a piece of commission. It's like any other broker you've dealt with. It's an annuity for them. They lock in each one of you. That's my annuity. I try to build a new block of business. And the moment problems happen and claims happen over here, any problem, it's like, forget that health plan. I'll sign you up to another as long as I retain the commission, right? How many of you guys have life insurance agents? That's what they do, right? Forget that one, or car insurance, car insurance. Forget that one, I'll give you another one, but as long as I get to retain the commission. So the broker community is happy because they were getting new commissions and a new way of doing it. Consumers were thrilled about it, right? Because it was like a whole new benefit for them. So you work through each audience and you spin the language to work towards them. When you sit in front of an employer, what are employers buying? Cost containment. Show me a health plan that runs an ad in the New York Times that says, we have the most effective cost containment programs, and I will show you a health plan that won't enroll one damn consumer. Consumers buy affordability, right? Do you remember the old George Carlin routine on baseball versus football? There was a brilliant routine of, like, in baseball, in football, we have the crackback block. In baseball, we have the sacrifice. In football, we score a touchdown. In baseball, we go home. We have a home run. So you learn the language differences. So you spin the program to meet the audience need, and you package accordingly, and you recognize that when you're communicating, you must assume perfect knowledge. This is what the web has brought as a difference. You don't put a program on the web to the employer that says cost containment, because when a consumer Googles your company, it will read the employer thing. And here's another insight. your employees, this is me as a consumer, this is what I teach everybody. No employee, no health plan ever got switched with another health plan without the employees believing that that one must be cheaper and worse than the other one, otherwise why do we switch? See, every health plan that walks in the doors, the new health plan is walking in with -1. Every time you have some subset of a program, it's a negative to that which was before. So you need to also build into your business plans how I am going to effectively communicate to these people. How am I going to reach these employees? And just please remember that health plans notify, they do not reach. Do you know that in communications? Like notifying was probably why I'm divorced. Telling my ex-wife I'm going golfing tomorrow, that's notifying. Communicating is starting a week before with 3 times frequency. Honey, I think I'm going to on Thursday. Is there anything going on by next Tuesday? You know what? I'm thinking maybe I'll go golfing. Is it okay? I'll be back by 1 o'clock, right? That's notifying. 3+ frequency, the message sings through. That's communicating. Notifying is the night before going, oh, did I forget to tell you I'm going golfing? Right? Health plans and HR departments notify. One-time messaging, last moment, oops, I hope I get this one through. You need to figure out how you're going to communicate. Okay? If you're launching a program that is through an employer or anybody else, build into your budgets, build into it, because at the end of the day, when you implement the program, you will be measured on your return on investment, or your impact number of people participating, right? So here's a wonderful program, Health Advocate. You guys have ever heard of Health Advocate? Health Advocate is a company that you can, and I've used them for my mom who had a bad bout with cancer. And Health Advocate's a wonderful company. Call them on the phone. They'll fight the battle for you with the health plan. They'll negotiate everything through. They'll argue on the claims. They'll coordinate all the stuff. Take all the angst out of it, right? 2% penetration. 2%. So every employer says, forget it, I'm not paying $1 a head. Only 2% of the people are doing it. I can hire, if I am IBM with 200,000 employees, I'm paying $500,000 to you. I can hire 2 people, announce I've got a call center for the amount of people and the amount of time, I'll deal with the same thing. So you need to figure out how you get to meaningful percents of the population that you are dealing with. Again, if it's a certain condition and only 2% of the people have it, like Gaucher's, big money, big impact, yeah, I get it. But when you're dealing with 100% of the people, or remember that it's the old 80-20 rule, 20% of the people are responsible for 8%. Actually, it's a 5-90 rule. 5% of the people are responsible for 90% of the cost. So these programs only impact 5% of the population. Will IBM write a check for that?